Yes.
All right, we're going to, unfortunately, I'm learning every day, step by step. And we're going to review a little bit what defining and non-defining relative clauses are. Probably most of you have studied this structure with Hector, I think is the name of the other teacher, right? It's the grammar teacher. So you have gone through this before with him. But anyway, I'm going to provide some, I would say, the most important um, things regarding not defining and non-defining clauses. All right. I'm going to provide some examples. For example, here we have a sentence which is, Anne's sister, who was a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. On the other hand, we have Anne's sister, who was a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. Can you notice that there is something different from the first one? In the second sentence, there is something different from the first one. What do you think is different? Can you tell the difference between the first and the second sentence? What can you see there? What can you see that there is not present in the first sentence? Anne's sister, who is a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. And in the second sentence, we have Anne's sister, who is a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. Can you notice that there is something extra in the
Uh,
second sentence?
the commas.
Yes, there are some commas there, right? We're
Mhm.
going to focus on those types of relative clauses, one that provide extra information and then what that provide important information, right? Let's see the first one. Has and got more than one sister in the first sentence? What do you think? Anne's sister, who is a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. Does she have one sister or more than one sister?
I think in the first one she has only one sister.
Only one sister. All right.
Yes.
And in the second case, that would be probably
The she could have more than one,
more than
and then
one.
she had to, yeah, and she had to specify which one,
Yes,
or is
yes.
the other way around? I don't know.
In the first one, she has just one sister. In that sister is a tennis champion, right? In the second one, probably she has more than one sister because she's speaking about the one who is a tennis champion, but probably she has more than one. Okay, so commas are important. If we omit the comma, we are probably killing the ancestors. So it is important to put the commas, okay, in order to provide information that is important there. Right? All right, the answer is there. Okay, the defining clauses provide what we call essential information, right? It cannot be omitted, and we don't use commas in them. We have to omit the comma. For example, Anne's sister, who is a tennis champion, visited her last weekend. It is in this case, who is a tennis champion is essential information. It provides information about Anne's sister. It's not an ordinary person, but it's a champion, it's a tennis champion, right? So the information is very important, it's critical information. The table whose legs are broken is at the back of the classroom. In this case, we are mentioning that it is important to know to mention that the legs were broken, right? On the other hand, we have non-defining clauses, relative clauses. And in this case, they provide extra information. and we use commas, of course. If we revisited the previous example, Anne's sister, who is a tennis champion, visited her last week. In this case, we are providing extra information. Sometimes that information can be omitted. We might say Anne's sister visited her last week. So sometimes it can be omitted. If it is there, you have to use commas. We probably know that Anne has got only one sister, so probably that information is not relevant. It's just extra information. Let's see the second example. Charles Dickens, whose novel Oliver Twist we read last term, was born 200 years ago. Can you notice there that we're also using commas there in order to provide extra information? We already know that Charles Dickens wrote Oliver Twist, but probably we did not know, or we don't know, that he was born 200 years ago. So in this case, we are providing extra information, which is important, but at the same time, we have to use comma. Here you have to pay close attention. Non-defining relative clauses are also called non-essential relative clauses because you can omit them because they provide extra information, but sometimes that information is not necessary, right? And you cannot omit the pronouns in a non-relative clause, and that cannot be replaced for who or for which. This is something that most students have problems with because sometimes they use non-defining clauses and they use that instead of who or which. We're going to do some exercises now based on this, so you can clarify your ideas and you can ask further questions in case you have. Have you got any questions before I close the slide? No?
No.
All right.
No, no.
Thank you for thank you for answering. Now I'm going to open the worksheet that we have for today. Can you see the worksheet now?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. You can work on your own at home, and I'm going to be here working with you as well. But I want you to help me, please, because your participation is very important. Otherwise, that would be very boring for you. Okay. We're going to do the first exercise, which is just an introduction. Okay. Remarkable things, people and places. And we're going to put your general knowledge into the test, right? Let's see the first question. The first video that reached 1 billion views on YouTube was, I don't know which one. Have you got any idea which was the first video that reached 1 billion views on YouTube? Could it be? Yeah?
I think it was Gangnam Style.
This one? The Gangnam Style.
Gangnam Style, yep.
All right, I'm going to put something like this, all right? And what about the rest? What do you think? The wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton, the Korean pop song Gangnam Style, or Barack Obama's 2012 victory speech?
I also think it's B, the Korean song.
The yes. Korean, yeah. All right, according to my notes, you're right. Yes. Let's move on then to the second one. The first woman who walked to the North Pole and then who skied to the South Pole and who climbed Everest. It's related to the same question. Oh, what,
I
what
think
Felicity?
she,
I'm sorry, what Felicity Aston? I forgot to mention that.
Aston, I googled her and I think it's the B. She's Speed.
You think
In
that is
South
letter
Pole. B.
letter B? I'm going to write it here. So, and what about the rest? I haven't had the faintest idea who Felicity Aston was. So thank you for searching on YouTube on the internet and provide the answers. Okay, that's all right. Felicity Aston was then the first woman who skipped to the South Pole. Let's move on then to number 3. A megacity is a city which has more than 10 million inhabitants, 15 million, or 20 million.
That's letter A.
Letter A, 10 million.
Yes.
So let me see. Does Chile have a megacity here or not? What do you think?
I think we don't. I I think we have like 7 million people living in Santiago, but I'm not sure.
So when we don't have a megacity, still. All right. Let's move on then to number 4. The Statue of Liberty, which was a gift from France to the USA, is the tallest statue in the world, is the heaviest statue in the world, or is made from bronze? You can use your clues
Uh,
to search and find the information.
I have heard it was made from bronze, but I'm not sure.
Yes,
I'm going
you're
to
not sure.
look it for.
All right. What do the rest think about this question? You think that it's made of bronze? But according to my notes, I think that it is the heaviest statue in the world. That would be probably it is made of bronze, but at the same time, there are other probably statues that are made from bronze as well. But according to my notes, it would be the heaviest statue in the world. All right. The most expensive hotel in the world where a suite costs 81,000 a night is Burj Al Arab in Dubai, is the Raj Palace Hotel in Jaipur, or is Hotel President Wilson in Geneva? Who cares?
Could be Dubai.
Dubai, I think that, yes, probably we think that Dubai has the most expensive hotel in the world. But
Yeah.
according to my notes, it's not in Dubai.
Oh,
It is in Geneva. Here, according to my notes, probably I'm wrong, but the note says that it is in Geneva. And then Lewis Carroll, whose real name was Charles Ludwig Dodson, whose real name was Clive Staples Lewis, and whose real name was Christopher James Dalton, wrote several famous poems and books, including Alice in Wonderland. What do you think would be the real name?
That's A.
Hey, you're very sure about that.
Yeah, I remember once I heard his last name was Dodson, and I found it was very funny.
And did you read the book as well, Alice in Wonderland, or saw the film?
I saw the film, the
Right.
animated film, and I don't remember what year the other film came out, but I saw that as well.
How did you like it?
I actually liked it a lot.
there are a lot of like mysteries or something like that there that we can find it out. Okay, number 7. Central Park, which is in New York City, is the most filmed location in the world, is the largest urban park in the world, or is the smallest urban park in the world? What do you think?
I think it could be A, but just because I've seen it in so many films and TV shows.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's the most filmed location in the world because especially romantic films usually take place in the Central Park. All right, and the final one. The largest hot desert on Earth is the Sahara, which is 14 million square kilometers, which is 4 million square kilometers, or which is 10 million square kilometers. What do you think is the real one, the correct answer?
I googled it and it looks like it's letter C.
Letter B or
C.
C?
C.
C.
But it says 9.2 square kilometers. So it's closer to letter C.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Google is right. According to my notes, I haven't been there, so I cannot provide personal, I would say, witness about that. So I would say that it's real. 10 million square kilometers. Oh, it's very long desert and hot as well. All right. Now we're going to move on to the defining and non-defining clauses. I think this is much more interesting than the previous activity. You can do it on your own at home, and then you can help me with this exercise. Decide if these sentences are best completed with a defining relative clause. I would say that it cannot be omitted, or a non-defining relative clause, which can be omitted, of course. And write D or ND in the boxes. All right. Let's try to do it together. Number 1, I'd love to meet someone. What do you think? Is that a relative clause or a non-relative clause? How can you tell whether it is a relative clause or a non-relative clause? I'd love to meet someone.
I think it could be a defining relative
A
clause.
defining, all right. I'm going to write it here then. You say define, right. In case someone disagrees, just spit it out, right? Number 2, we are looking for a house. What do you think? Is this a relative clause or a non-relative clause?
But we have to complete the sentence.
No, the first activity is just to say if it is defined or not defining. That's it. And then we have a second activity where we have to complete the sentences, right? But the first activity is to identify whether we can and identify whether it is a defining or non-defining. We write just D or ND. That's it.
Yeah, but the instructions said decide if these sentences are best completed with a defining relative clause. Or
yes, that's what we are going to do.
okay.
First, we're going to complete the squares saying if it is defining or non-defining.
Okay,
And
okay.
then we're going to complete this.
Okay. I didn't understand, but okay.
No, that's all right. It was a little bit confusing for me as well at the beginning.
Yeah.
After
Okay.
reading several times, I could notice that we have first to do the complete the boxes and then complete the exercise.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on then to number 2. We are looking for a house. Is that a defining or a non-defining relative clause? What do you think?
I think it's a defining. I feel like from 1 to 4 are
Mhm.
defining because they don't have like uh, another sentence after.
All right. Okay, so number 2 is defining as well, according to your opinion. If
Yes.
someone else thinks differently, just spit it out, please. Say it immediately. Number 3, we went to see Romeo and Juliet. What do you think about this one? In order to know whether it is defining or not defining, in our mind, we can complete the sentence, okay, but just in our minds, in order to identify whether it is a defining or not defining clause. We went to see Romeo and Juliet.
I feel like it's a defining too.
You think that it is a defining?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to write defining. All right. Do the rest agree that it is a defining or not defining? Okay. Let's move on then to number 4. Do you know a shop?
That's a defining too. I think.
Defining too. Yeah. Then we're going to go one by one to see whether they are correct or not, right? Number 9, Marilyn Monroe died of a drug overdose. I think
That
this is easy.
one, yeah, that one's a non-defining.
Yeah, that would be the MD. Sorry for my handwriting because I'm using the computer and I'm not very good at it. All right. I find people difficult to get on with.
Non-defining also.
You think that is non-defining? Okay.
I think it is defining.
You think that it is defining. So we're
Yeah.
going to put here like a question mark, right? Question mark. All right. Because there are 2 opinions, defining and non-defining. What do you think it is non-defining?
Just because I thought that I could. Oh no, Natalie's right.
So what? So you agree that it is defining?
I thought that I could like read the whole thing without um, the the part of the sentence in between commas, but
Yeah.
I think that it is right because it
So
makes
you agree that it's defining then?
yeah.
All right. So we're going to remove the question mark. All right. This is a little bit tricky. Okay. Do you know that most of the time in tests there are some tricky exercises. They put the line in order to make you confuse yourself, right? My computer is already out of date.
Non-defining.
All right. Do you agree?
Yes,
It,
I think so.
All right. I'm going to write down the ND. Undefined. Then number 8. I met a girl.
Defining.
All right. Do you agree?
Yes, defining.
Define, right. Number 9, Professor Brian Cox will give a talk next week.
I think that's non-defining.
All right. And D. And then we have number 10. I bought a cheese and pickle sandwich. Oh, yummy. I bought a cheese and pickle sandwich.
Non-defining.
You think that it's non-defining. All right. And D. And D. All right. So we have, there is one that I think number 3. Number 3, we have to take a second look at it. We went to see Romeo and Juliet. If we complete the sentence, do you think that it can be defining or not defining? What do you think? For example, if I say, I went to see Romeo and Juliet, which was enjoyable, or it was which was an enjoyable experience, can it be then defining or not defining?
It sounds like it's non-defining.
Yeah. It depends on how you complete the sentence, right? So sometimes it can be defining, sometimes it can be defined, depending on how you complete the sentence.
Yeah,
But in order
depends on the
to,
context.
yes, right. But in order to make the activity more challenging, I want you to complete each sentence, all right? There are here some examples or some sentences for you to pick up from, all right? And complete each sentence with one of these, I would say, clauses, right? You went to school with her. I ate it immediately. It was 4 bedrooms. I bought it only last year. They lose the temper easily. It sells second-hand furniture. Her real name was Norma Jean Baker. This person could teach how to cook, or could teach me how to cook. He's a well-known physicist and a TV presenter. I really enjoyed it. Can you complete the sentences using one of these? But in case you don't want to use these sentences, you can provide your own. You can be creative and use your imagination and complete the sentences with your own examples, right? So you decide. I'm going to give you some minutes for you to complete the sentence. Are you ready?
No.
Not yet. Okay, take your time. Don't worry. I will do the first one in order to encourage you to move on, right? I'd love to meet someone who could. Who could work. Teach me how to cook. Okay, this is my contribution. My humble contribution. We are looking for a house. Does any one of you have number 2? We are looking for a house.
I think we are looking for a house that has 4 bedrooms.
That has 4
bedrooms.
bedrooms. All right, very good. Thank you. And can we use also which instead of that? Or can we use both? What do you think? Can we say we're looking for a house which has 4 bedrooms, or just we're looking for a house that has 4 bedrooms? What do you think?
I think we can use both.
Yes, you're right. We can use both. In this case, we can use both because in a defining clause we can use both forms, that or which. But in non-defining clauses, we only can use which, right? By the way, in the United Kingdom, people usually say that. They don't use which with defining clauses, but in the United States, they use both. In American English, they use both for defining clauses. Number 3, we went to see the Romeo and Juliet. What can we put there? We went to see Romeo and Juliet.
which I really enjoy.
Excellent. Which I really enjoy. Do we need something else, or is it correct? We went to see Romeo and Juliet, which I really enjoyed. Is there something missing?
The comma.
Yes, you're right. In non-defining clauses, we have to use commas. We cannot omit commas because this is just extra information. Thank you very much. Very good. Then we have, do you know a shop?
That sells second-hand furniture.
All right. That sells second-hand furniture. All right. Very good. That sells second-hand furniture. Don't pay attention to the capital letters just because it's the computer, right? Marilyn Monroe.
Coma, whose real name was Norma Jean Baker.
Yes, whose real name was MJB, died of a drug overdose. Do we need something else, or is it complete? What do you think?
We need commas at the beginning
Yes.
and at the end.
All right, thank you very much, because this is a non-defining clause, right? Number 6, I find people difficult to get on with.
I find people who lose their temper easily difficult to get with.
Yeah, they're
Get on with.
easily. All right. I find people who lose their temper easily difficult to get on with. Right. Number 7, my computer is already out of date.
Which I bought last year.
All right. Which I bought last year. All right. Which I bought last year. All right. Do we need something else?
Yes, the comma.
All right. The commas, right. The commas here and the commas there as well. Can I use that instead of which, or can I use which and that? What do you think?
I believe we can use both.
Both. My computer, which I sorry, there is a T missing there. You think that my computer, which of that I bought last year is already out of date, right?
Yes.
All right, be careful. When we are dealing with non-defining clauses, we cannot use that, never, right? It is very important to bear that in mind. With non-defining clauses, forget about that. Only use whatever, but not that, right? With defining clauses, relative clauses, you can use which, that, who, everything, but with non-defining, you have to forget about that. That, right? Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. I met a girl. I met a girl
Who you went to school with?
who
You
I,
went to. Who
I,
yeah,
I
sorry.
would say
I
went
went to school with.
to school. Very good. I met a girl who I went to school with. Do we need commas there or not?
No, because it is defining.
All right, we don't need commas. Very good. Can I omit who and just I met a girl I went to school with?
I have, yeah, I think because it is defining. If it,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, we can use who, or we can skip who and say I just met a girl I went to school with. Very good. When we are dealing with defining clauses, we can omit the relative word, right? Okay, number 9. Professor Brian Cox will give a talk next week.
Who is a well-known physicist and TV presenter?
So who is a well-known physicist, and blah, 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 blah. So here we need then to use comma, right, in between. Who is a well-known physicist and a TV presenter, comma, and we continue with the rest of the sentence. And the last sentence, I bought a cheese and pickle sandwich. This is a non-defining clause.
which I ate immediately.
All right. So I'm going to use the commas because it's a non-defining clause, which I cannot use that, which I ate immediately, comma. No, that's the end of the sentence, sorry. That which I ate immediately. It is providing extra information, right? Have you got any questions regarding defining and non-defining clauses?
Nope.
All right.
No.
Okay. Can we finish this this page and we finish the lesson because we are it is more than 3. It is the 3 past. It's 8 past 3. Do you have time to finish this part?
I have, yeah.
All right. Just a couple of minutes. Punctuation and omitting the pronoun. Sometimes we can omit the pronoun and sometimes we have to use the pronoun. Right? For example, Shayla, who I first got to know at university, comma, was one of 6 children. In the second case, the man who you were talking to is a famous artist. And number 3, it's our turn to start. This is the story that amazed the world. There is no change. Okay, so now it's our time. The thing that I lost, no, the thing that I most regret is not going to university. What can we do there? The thing that I most regret. Can I omit the pronoun or not?
Yes.
Or the thing that most regret is not. So you think that we can say the thing that most regret?
I mean, the thing I most regret is not going to university.
Yeah, I think in this case we have to leave it as it is, right? Because if I say the thing that most regret, that would be a little bit incomplete. So no change in this case, right?
Okay.
Number 5, my 2 daughters, who are 16 and 13, are both interested in dancing. Can we do something with this sentence?
Comma.
Put the comma. Oh.
All right. Yes, we can insert comma. My daughters All right, my daughters, who are 16 and yes, 16 and 13, are both interested in dance. Very good. The town where I was born has changed dramatically. Can I omit the pronoun there? Can I say the town where I was born has changed dramatically?
I think it would sound incomplete if we
Yes, of
omit the
course.
pronoun.
Yes, we
But
cannot omit the pronoun there.
yeah, but it is a defining clause, right?
It's a defining clause, right? So
Okay.
we cannot use commas here because it is that is part of the sentence, okay? The clause.
Okay.
So it is no change here. I didn't like the clothes which were in the sale. What do you think about this? Can we use commas or can we omit the pronoun? What do you think? I didn't like the clothes which were in the sale.
I think no change.
No change, right? We cannot, because if I say just I didn't like the clothes, that would be that is something missing, right? The phone that I bought yesterday doesn't work. Can I omit the pronoun there? That the pronoun I. The phone I bought yesterday.
Yes, we could omit the pronoun.
The phone that bought yesterday. I think that we can omit yes. The phone that I bought. Yes, we can omit that. Very good. Do we need commas there? Can we insert commas or not?
No, because it is a defining clause.
Yes, yes. Very good. So the only thing that we can do is to omit the pronoun that. All right, the relative pronoun. Number 9, the part of Europe where I'd like most to live is Portugal. What do you think?
Maybe omit where. The pronoun where.
The part of Europe I'd like to live is Europe. The part of Europe I'd like to live. Yes, it can be omitted, but it sounds a bit weird. I would say it's more.
It would be the part of Europe I'd most like to live is Portugal. But it
Yes,
is a defining clause, right?
yes, yes. It is a defining clause.
So you say it
You
could be
can, you
no
can.
change.
I think it's if you say the part of Europe I most like to live. I think it's probably it can be, but it sounds a little bit incomplete. But
Okay.
both are possible. All right, because yes, we can omit where. All right. The Algarve, where my mother's family comes from, is famous for its beautiful beaches and dramatic coastline. The Algarve, where my mother's family comes from, is famous for its. Can we omit the pronoun? What do you think? Can we say the Algarve, my mother's family comes from, is famous for its beautiful beaches and dramatic coastline? What do you think?
I think we need to add commas.
Yes, this is what we call a non-defining clause. So the Algarve, comma, Algarve, where my mother's family comes from, right, is famous for its beautiful beaches and dramatic coastline. I'm going back to number 4 because you said before that I said that you should not omit. I felt confused. You can omit that here, right? You were right. You're right when you said the thing I most regret is not going to university, and I said the thing. I think I said that it cannot be omitted, but it can, right? I was thinking about not about that. Sorry for my mistake.
It's fine.
Thank you for forgiving me. All right, number 11, right? Salt comes from the sea is considered to be the best for cooking.
I think we can keep that one like that.
Salt comes from. You think that we can omit that?
No, we can keep the
Yeah, that
sentence.
would be a little bit strange. Yes, I think in this case, no change because it is a defining clause, and if we omit part of it, that would be incomplete or nonsense. And let's see what happens with the last one. Salt, whose qualities have been known since prehistoric time, is used to season to preserve food.
I think we could add commas.
Yes, right. Salt. Here, after salt.
Yes.
All right. Here, salt, whose qualities have been known since prehistoric time, and here as well, is used to season and preserve food. You know what's the meaning of season?
In Spanish, could be sazonar or not?
Yes, very good. Sazonar. And also it has another meaning that everybody knows, right? The most common meaning would be spring season, summer season, estaciones. But here in this case, when we speak about cooking, we say season regarding to provide, to make it, to improve the food, right? All right. I think that it's enough for today, and you can move on with the rest of the exercises if you want, right? I will provide the key. I don't know whether you have the workbook. Have you?
I have it.
Right.
PDF, the PDF.
Yes. So if you can move on your own, the workbook has the key answers, so you can do it on your own and go to the key answers. And if you have further questions, you just send me an email, right?
Okay.
I'm going to, yes.
I have a question, but related to the.
I'm going to stop presenting. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. What the question is?
Yeah, I have a question about the online activity you presented the first.
Yes.
Because I did it, but I think some of my answers are correct, but it showed me that they were incorrect. So I I want to ask you if you can
take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yes, for example,
feedback.
one of the things that I could notice that you say marriage, you use this marriage instead of marry. Marriage is a noun, and marry is a verb. So
yeah, but the online activity,
right. You mean the other one?
Yeah,
the online activity. Oh yeah, yes, I understand. I will provide feedback on that. So can you I don't know. Let me see, because I want to see your how do you say, your answers, because I only received the final mark, so I don't know which were your.
Okay.
If you can send me your answers on a sheet of paper, can you copy the answers, and then I can provide your feedback.
Okay, yeah? I will.
Unfortunately, it is interesting because you can submit your answers and it gives feedback immediately, but it doesn't say which is wrong and why it was wrong. But it doesn't show me as well what you wrote. It says just the final how to say average. That's it. But if you send me your answers,
Okay.
I can provide you some feedback, right?
Okay, thank you.
So to close the lesson for today, we studied the relative pronouns, right? Then defining non-defining relative pronouns, and also we agreed on the book that we're going to read. That is the Tattooist on the Auschwitz, and also we agreed that on Monday I will upload the activities that you should prepare for the test. The test will be on next Friday. But next Friday is the update to the deadline to upload your activities. Right? In case you have any questions or whatever, you just send me an email, right? In order to clarify your questions. I think many questions will arise while you're doing the activity, and feel free to ask questions and to provide some suggestions as well if you find that there is something which is not very clear. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much
Okay.
for your attendance, and see you in a week time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye. Thank you.